Her declaration cut through the air like a finely sharpened blade. Precise, deliberate, and merciless. She stood at the head of the polished mahogany table, posture commanding, dressed in a tailored navy suit that highlighted her elegance. The diamond on her ring caught the chandelier's light as if mocking me. My wife, now newly appointed as vice president, spoke with the authority of both executive and executioner as she announced my dismissal. Effective immediately. Your role is unnecessary, darling. The last word dripped with venom. Around us, board members shifted in their seats, their uneasy laughter betraying both discomfort and relief that they weren't the ones under fire. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. Instead, I signed the severance papers, stood, and walked out. Over the years, I had learned that silence carried more weight than anger. Our story had begun 12 years earlier, inside a cluttered startup office reeking of burnt coffee and raw ambition. She was a data analyst, buried in spreadsheets. I was the closer, securing clients everyone else thought impossible. Together, we were unstoppable. Nights stretched into mornings as we sketched ideas across our living room floor, takeout boxes scattered like trophies. When we married, she'd called us an invincible team. For a while, I believed her. But eventually, the words rang hollow. The first crack appeared 3 months earlier. One night, after returning late from a client dinner, I overheard her in the kitchen, whispering on the phone about a leadership overhaul and the need to remove him quietly. She never said my name, but I knew. When she surpassed me and claimed the VP title, I congratulated her sincerely. She responded with a measured smile, pressing a cold kiss against my cheek. That same week, she began transferring my major accounts to others, insisting she was easing my workload. I recognized it for what it was. The beginning of a purge. The second warning arrived when I noticed the CEO's name lighting up her call log, late at night, too many times to ignore. By the time she delivered the words of my termination, I wasn't blindsided. This wasn't ambition. It was a coup she had orchestrated carefully. That night, I didn't numb myself with alcohol or unleash fury. I retreated into my office and unlocked the slim black folder I'd been quietly compiling for 2 months. Inside were contracts, emails, and agreements, each one containing clauses only I had the foresight to embed. To the company, my job looked like simple client management. What they didn't grasp was that my relationships with those clients were built on ironclad terms I had negotiated myself. One clause in particular was crucial. If I left, my clients had the right to walk away without penalty within 30 days. And these weren't small clients. They represented $80 million in annual revenue. I didn't need to call them. The news of my departure traveled faster than any memo. By dawn, my phone buzzed with messages from CEOs, each echoing the same sentiment. Without you, the contracts are void. We're done. 2 weeks later, the inevitable happened. The CEO himself called, his tone strained and desperate. We need you back. Accounts are leaving. I said nothing. His desperation shifted to threats. Your contract binds you to return, or we'll take legal action. A quiet smile tugged at my lips. The board convened in a glass-walled conference room on the 40th floor, overlooking the city. My wife sat at the head of the table, but her confidence had cracked. The CEO paced like a condemned man, while the company's lawyer slid my contract across the table. Clause 17, subsection C. You're required to return in cases of significant client loss. I turned the pages slowly, savoring the tension, before pointing to one particular line. The lawyer leaned forward, reading carefully. His brow furrowed, then he read it again. It's conditional, he said finally, his voice subdued. Conditional. The CEO snapped. The lawyer nodded. It applies only if the employee left voluntarily. Our eyes locked. My voice was calm, but sharp enough to cut. You fired me. Her face drained of color. The lawyer confirmed it. If she terminated him, there's no legal ground to compel his return. My wife swallowed hard, her voice trembling. We can negotiate something. I leaned forward, letting the silence stretch long enough to suffocate the room. There's nothing left to negotiate. The accounts are already gone. Her fingers gripped the edge of the table as her hands shook. A whisper escaped her lips. My God! The CEO turned on her, his eyes burning with fury. You did this, he growled. I stood, buttoned my coat, and walked to the door. Behind me, the room dissolved into chaos. Accusations hurled, panic spilling into the air, the sound of an empire unraveling. Through the glass, I saw her one last time, head bowed into her trembling hands, consumed by the storm she had unleashed. The bitter truth about being labeled expendable is that it only lasts until you prove the opposite. I had built the revenue. I had secured the contracts. And I walked away with the one commodity they could never replace: loyalty. She stripped me of my position. I dismantled her future. A fair exchange. They mistook my silence for surrender. In reality, it was the sound of a trap snapping shut. And when it did, it wasn't mere revenge. It was justice.